Wow, we must look so tired. Welcome to the start of the vlog. This guy's sleepy. I'm sure he be sleepy. So currently Moosey Caboosey is getting herself fixed. And, the world will be at peace once more. And she'll probably be a lot happier and not be as much like, being constantly bothered by being in heat all the time. So first things first, I am currently exporting the vlog. I doubt anyone watched because this is my life and my views are down, but whatever. But I'm currently editing my and formatting the short story I'm going to submit to Trash Tales. I don't know, they might not accept it. They might be like, "This is one of the worst things I've ever read." Who knows? But yeah, so I'm literally watching Alex Bridge, who is one of the editors of that short story collection, and he goes through how to format your manuscript for submission, and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch the video and just do what he does because it's for his own thing. So I'm like, ha ha, hoo ha ha. So there you go. So Moose is back from being fixed, and she seems like a whole different cat. I mean, you can hear her purring. Before, she was like making noises like nonstop. Like she must have really been like feeling the extra hormones like really bad. She must have been in heat like terribly because yeah, she's this is different even than when she was just like not in heat at like my like when I was looking after her before, where she would always go like make noise, like a lot of noise and cry and kind of yowl. So yeah, she's happy. She's doing everything else normally. Now it might be the drugs, maybe like because she's still like coming down from the anesthesia and stuff like that. So like maybe tomorrow she'll be back to purring up meowing up a storm and being very chatty. But she's just kind of like a normal cat now. Yeah, she's a sweetie. She was always a good cat. It's just she was very vocal, and it might have been because of not being fixed. Oh God, do not fall. You just got surgery, girl. You gotta be careful. So yeah, this is a nice day today. I can catch up on my sleep finally, and this little girl's happy. Watching the Justice League Holiday Special, which always warms my cold, dead heart. It's actually genuinely sweet. Next up, Christmas with the Joker. I love this episode so much. Now on to Holiday Nights. Yeah, another classic Batman the Animated Series episode. Isn't that right, Claude? Okay, so an update for the evening. I did actually manage to finish 2 comic books today, Batman 89 and Superman 78. So both of these are adaptations and are sequels to, the film in question. So this is from, Tim Burton's Batman 1989. Now, what's interesting about this is written by Sam Hamm, who had something to do with the first 2 Tim Burton movies, and this actually takes place after Batman Returns, because Catwoman does come back, which is cool. And also, what is so cool about this book is that it manages to actually follow up with an idea that was introduced in the original 1989 Batman movie, and that is Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. And, that on its own just seems like it would be a fun idea. But what was really interesting about this book is that it didn't just go like, oh, yes, he's just like the exact same version of Harvey Dent. No, like they actually tried to do like a little bit of research into, African American culture, and like actually tried to tell a very interesting story about racial disparity in the world of Batman. There is like peaceful protests going on, and there are guys who are protesting and are the counter protesters, like the kind of people who are like intentionally going in to cause problems, and they are white dudes pretending to be Batman, which is like a wildly interesting idea. Is that like it's kind of tries to actually explore the fact that Batman has some tendencies that go towards right-wing vigilante nuts, and like it was really, really interesting. And it also went to a lot of work to try to talk about how like philanthropy is actually probably what would be better use of Batman's talents and money. And, Two-Face in this is so cool. Like, I love this design of Two-Face. And what's fun about him is that he's like, they add this like quantum mechanics level kind of idea to his character where it's not just like one or the other, the binary choice, which is obviously when he's flipping the coin, that's what he's doing. But he like thinks that he can see in all different types of reality, and now he knows that every single choice he makes fractures into wholly different universes, and it's just like he has the inability to choose, so he uses the coin to like choose what the actual world will be. And he sees a world where he didn't get disfigured and was like a great man. But then it's also very much like people like tell him like you can still be a great person even though this happened. But like yeah, it just like breaks him. And it's just really interesting because it really wants to talk about like protests and peaceful protesting and like how historically over policed the black communities are. And they do this from the realm of Batman. And like, this is not a very subtle book, but I don't think it should be. I think this is like an idea that if you're going to tackle it through, the lens of a superhero comic, you definitely should be like very on the nose. And yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting, fun story that actually had some heart to it, and there was like a very good meaning to this. Like this was a story with a purpose that it was trying to tell, and it introduces a Black Robin as well. And yeah, no, it's just awesome. It just was a really big surprise. And I had a lot of fun with it. Like, I thought it was a fantastic comic book. Awesome artwork. Really interesting way to take the 1989 Batman film and continue to expand it. Now, I'm also interested because there was a recent book that just came out called Batman Resurrection, which is a novel form of a sequel to Batman 89. So I'm really interested to see what that novel tackles because, yeah, this was just a great comic book that I thought was really, really interesting. Now on to Superman 78. Now, I had a blast with this. I thought it was a fantastic, fun comic. This is purely a fun comic book, though, right? So this one's not trying to tell any super huge, like, in-depth and trying to do like a super detailed story. But what this does is this brings Brainiac, which is like, the smart dude, into the world of the Christopher Reeve Superman. And it does it so well. You really do feel like this is Christopher Reeve Superman, and you feel like that's Margot Kidder, and you feel like that's Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. And they all have these like very cool little quaint ways of speaking, and like the dialogue feels like right out of those original freaking movies, which is just rad. And there's even fun little references to hear in the artwork. You definitely see Richard Pryor from Superman 3 at one point in the background, which I thought was just a blast and very fun. Yeah, and this was just like a cool story where like Brainiac sees Superman as an invasive species, so he's going to remove him from the Earth's ecosystem so it can be back to balance. And it just was so much fun, and I had a great time with it. The only critique, and like this is kind of like a minor critique, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But I just didn't think that Brainiac looked 70s enough, which might be a little odd. But like, his robots have a very 80s aesthetic to them, because this is very much like what 80s Brainiac looked like. So like that one definitely fits. I do love how they incorporate all of his weird wacky powers. Like he at one point he even throws the symbol like he does, and I think that's like Superman 2. Anyways, I thought that was just brilliant. But Brainiac himself looks a little bit too futuristic. Like this looks like a little bit too much like a, I guess it's not, no, I guess I've seen 60s comic books with that idea. So I guess it's just not something that would ever be able to be told in, the actual movie format so I think this one is probably too progressive to ever make it to screen, but it did feel like it was a filmable version of a story. And this one is definitely like a comic book, like, just a fun time with the same characters and in the same world that you know. So both of them were fantastic reads, but in different ways. This one really hit hard and is like a just a great comic book that has a lot to say. This one is just a great time. So yeah, both of them were good hits, and I'm glad I honestly didn't know either of these existed until I went into the library and I was like, oh, that's cool. I will be reading more wintry stuff tomorrow, also comic booky, but I saw these two and I was like, oh, I got to pick these up because that sounds great. Good morning, Loomis. Loomis is like, this is not my normal TV show. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, Next Level, which is this new Amazon Prime, like, I guess they're based off of like movies and TV shows. Sorry, they're actually not based on either. Those are all based on video games. Anyways, one of the episodes, it's by the same company that did Love, Death, and Robots, and like those are like sometimes good, sometimes bad. But regardless, one of those is a Warhammer episode. So based off of Space Marine 2, I believe. So I'm excited to watch that. What do you think, Loomis? He's like, put back on my TV. I hate you, bro. You're the worst dad ever. Okay, that was really, really awesome. Really felt like an episode of Love, Death, and Robots because it's like very, very artsy, which was kind of a surprise. But it also got the fact that Space Marines are fucking terrifying, which is my preferred adaptation of those horrible, horrible creatures. So I actually ended up watching all 8 episodes of the show that got released this morning. They're all like super short. They range from like 12 minutes to 20 minutes to anyways. The ones that were the best were definitely the Unreal Tournament one, which was actually great. And then the Warhammer one was actually pretty fun as well and solid. The Dungeons and Dragons one was a fun one, but like I don't know, it didn't like hit me other than the cool action. I've never even heard of this game, Sifu, but it sounds cool. Like this one was a fun one. The New World, the Once and Future King was kind of lame. I didn't really like that one very much. The Pac-Man one was like a terrible, terrible 10-year-old wrote a creepypasta. It's kind of amazing to watch to be like, wow, that was bad. The Crossfire one was boring. It was just like soldier dudes fighting in an area of like a place that was like in a hurricane. I was like, there's a reason why I don't watch soldier dude movies. There's soldier boring. And then Armored Core was wild and interesting. I don't know how much I care that much about Armored Core because I like giant robots, but I like giant robots to be kind of slow and prodding, where like this was like a super fast pace, like I got like Gundam stuff, and I was like, it's okay. It was a fine enough story that had a really kind of creepy ending to it, but yeah, it was not bad. It was not bad. Like I said, the two standout ones though are definitely episodes 4 and 5 from this first batch. So yeah, that was the thing I did this morning. How you doing, Moose? You doing okay? Yeah, you still got the little purrs, don't you? Yeah, she's got those little sounds, but she just seems a little bit more chill and happy, and there haven't been any more peeing incidents just yet. When I was watching television with Loomis, I did spill a bunch of coffee. So that's coffee. The coffee stains. And I tried to spray the freaking... I gotta go buy carpet cleaner, because, yeah, no, it's coffee. It's coffee. And I like sprayed all the cleaner I have, and I was like, and I'm like scrubbing it, and I was like, oh no, it's not doing nothing. So it looks like I have to go get carpet cleaner, but I don't want to go get carpet cleaner just yet. I'll get carpet cleaner later today, but yeah. What should I read physically? What do you think? I'm still listening to the audiobook for Echo, and it's really good, and actually like pretty creepy and scary and very strange. But, I think I'll probably do more of that tomorrow. Whoa, she's gonna headbutt you. That might be tomorrow's project, so I wonder what I want to do. Kelsey from Slimy Slay, which is how you say it, actually, in the olden tongues. Slimy Slay, is doing a screening of Black Christmas later on, so that is fun. Everyone loves Black Christmas, and if you don't, what's the problem? It's one of the greatest films ever made. Okay, let's see. Columbo, A Christmas Killing. I don't know if I want to do a Columbo today. Hellwinter Gate. I'll save that for a little bit later. Jaws of Revenge. No, that's like a December 26th start because it goes into New Year's. The Mall. This is entirely dependent on how big words are. Oh, the words are not that big. And it has the blank page in between chapters if it ends in a certain thing. 271 though? I don't know. Oh man, this is tough. Owl's Vein Horror, that's some stuff happens at a ski lodge. No, I don't want to do that today. Maybe I'll do these two. Yep. Time for Black Christmas, one of the greatest movies ever made. Along with a cat. This is one of the greatest cats ever made. Beep-a-lee-beep-a-lee-boop. She's like, how dare you? So lately, Lewis has hit this really interesting part of his life where I think he's like 4 now. So like he's like chilled out a little bit. He just likes hanging out. Okay, well, don't instantly put me wrong. I love how Lewis is like, excuse me, sir. Were you trying to compliment me as being chill? No, I have a reputation to uphold. And he leaves. But like, you know, when the camera is not on, he'll just like hang out. Like we'll just be like sitting down, hanging out. He'll watch stuff with me. He likes to watch like movies and stuff if it has a space. And yeah, no, he's just been kind of like a little bit more chill lately. A little bit more happy with just like hanging out, which is, you know, kind of nice. Kind of nice. I mean, he's still Loomis, so he's still like a wildly unhinged psychopath. But like, you know, he's my psychopath and he likes to hang out with me sometimes. So I guess that's all cats. You're now a moose. Oh, you're so beautiful. Look at your cutie face. So, this is my first update today, whatevs. But I'm watching this weird documentary called I Am Santa Claus from 2014, following a bunch of real-life people
Santa Claus
who are Santas. Oh no, children. Anyway, so I'm going to be eating some food while watching that. Sad Santa, drunken St. Patrick's Day. Love to see it. Love to see it. Mick Foley is currently attending a Santa improvement man. He's going to teach him how to be Santa. Mentor Mick Foley, the wrestler. Amazing. Look at him. He's like so Santa Claus. Okay, so that was just a lovely surprise. I think I've heard about this before, but I've never seen this before. And there were so many, like, weird little Santas that they explored in this that I just thought was kind of, like, fun. And, like, it was also, like, very sweet. You never know going into a documentary that's, like, about people playing a character, like, what tone it will be, because I remember there's like, what was it, Confessions of a Superhero, which I have not seen in ages, but I think it was from a similar time. It was about all those people who like dress up as like Spider-Man and stuff on Times Square, and like that was not a happy documentary. This one is actually a pretty sweet documentary. Like Mick Foley is in this as a Santa, and he's just the most like genuinely sweet man who, and it was just like absolutely heartwarming, and I was like, that is a amazing surprise. And then what was cool, like this is from 2014, so it's like I was a bit I mean, like I guess there's like all these things that like you shouldn't be surprised about, but also like had this existed today, people would have made a bigger stink about it online. But like it was all about like there was like a Santa who was gay, and there was a Santa who was like a swinger, like not as Santa. He was like he was a swinger outside of being Santa, but like a really like a nice sweet guy. It was just interesting that they went to a lot of different angles that you definitely would not have expected a Santa Claus doc to go to. So yeah, no, this is just a fun little surprise, and yeah, I had a good time with it. Yeah, I'm streaming it again. Yeah, this is the same scene as it was last time. Yeah, this is still amazing. Still slaps. Still slaps. Oof. The next movie I streamed was Shredder, which is a movie I didn't realize I owned, but I do. I mean, not for long after this, because this movie is awful. This movie is straight up awful. I remembered it was not good, but I was like, people were talking about it, and I was like, oh, maybe this film is good, and I just forget because I was like drunk or something when I watched it. No, this movie is very bad. This movie is very, very bad. Okay, normally when I do my little clips of a movie, I do not then further address the film. But I do want to say to Shredder, I'm sorry. You have 2.5 good scenes, and they're some of the stupidest scenes I've ever seen in cinema. And as such, you get 2.5 stars and you stay in the collection. The final kill in this movie is so good. By good, I mean awful. Like the CGI is awful. It is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And yeah, it makes the whole movie worth it. But the rest of the movie, very bad. But there are some really stupid scenes, some very stupid kills, and that did make it worth it in the end. Don't you agree, Claude? He's like, I have no opinions. I was sleeping during the whole thing. Okay, so it is the end of the day. I have not done a lot of updates today because it's been very cold outside and like I've just not been feeling great today. I did get some movie watching done, which was nice. That was good. Both those watch parties were actually like a lot of fun. So that was a bonus. And I did finish this one book, The Death of Albert Johnson, the the mad rapper of Rat River. But and I knew of this story, but I liked hearing it all in this kind of like detailed kind of like I don't think it was necessarily dry because there were some like very interesting parts of this, but it's all about like a very famous Canadian true crime case where this guy who was like on the run went through some like wild territory in freezing temperatures and traversed like places where everyone was like you can't do that, and then this freaking guy did that, and then they finally caught him, and there was this huge shootout at this river, and there's all these like interesting elements of like people who are part of this investigation. Like the main guy who's like operating the plane that they have in this case is the guy who was like one of the two pilots responsible for the death of the Red Baron, which is like in World War I, like the Red Baron is like the big time boogeyman of the skies for Germany. Is that it was just like this really skilled airplane dude, and like he was literally chasing the dude who did all the flying in this case, and he was chasing him, and then like he was barely like dodging him and going through this like crazy scenario, and he couldn't manage to hit him, so he was frustrated and he went over enemy lines, and then he got ambushed by another plane that like came down and was like and got him finally, and he was the guy who's being chased, and then he's out there doing all these like this wild trips throughout these extremely cold temperature areas, and it was just like an awesome story from that regard. This book is not very long, but like it has like weird, it's like it does take a little while to read because like it's like pretty small print, and it's like kind of like misleading because it's not in a perfect, like it's in a weird, it's a bit thicker than you would think, but still like it took me longer to read this than it should have. I should have got this done in like a day, but it's just this weather's been really affecting me. But yeah, no, this was an enjoyable read, had a lot of good photos. I will say that the last part of this book like is all about the guy who like, it's like a biography of the guy who flew the plane, which is like still like super captivating and really interesting, and does have other elements that I thought was really cool. But it doesn't really have much to do with this case because he is a part of the case, but he's not like a big part of the case. So that was just a little thing. Tomorrow I'm going to finish the audiobook for Echo. I only have a few hours left of that. I've really been liking that book, but like my audiobook listening has been so slow lately. And that's because again, the weather is just so cold. And most of the time when I'm listening to audiobooks, it's while I'm walking or doing things. And like cold has just been kicking my tuchus. But yes, so I will finish that, but that is still quite good, and I will talk about that when I get to it. And then tonight, I did just start this little uh, Dungeons and Dragons comic. Apparently, this is like the third version of their adventures, but like this is just you can totally read these on its own, and they found themselves teleported into like a very cold, wintry place. And yeah, this is just fun. This is just like a fun D&D story that has like really good kind of quick, quippy characters to it. Awesome atmosphere for a winter read for, so it's very thematic. So I'm definitely going to finish this one tomorrow. So because I'm already halfway done it and I only spent like a half hour, so it's not a very long comic. So I will get to that tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully I finish Echo tomorrow and then I finish this. Those are my two main goals for tomorrow. It's supposed to be cold tomorrow, but it's supposed to get like a little bit better, which is good, because like it's cold. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Goodbye. It's Friday 13th, which means these two are good luck. Hello, little cuties. Little cuties. You're good luck. Beautiful ladies. Okay, so I'm actually doing some pretty good progress on things today. So first off, I did finish the audiobook for Echo. Oh my goodness, wow. That book was like wild and weird and like emotional, and like it's told in a very kind of like non-linear way, in that there's like elements that will like even in chapters, because it's all from certain, like all the chapters are broken down from a character's perspective, but they're kind of going to be broken down from like a character writing in a journal about their experiences for like a day or like the past. And like what will happen is sometimes when they're writing in their journal, they'll hint at things in the future that you haven't got to yet because their story hasn't got there yet. So like they'll be like, oh, but that guy, like that image of the man with no eyes haunts me to this day. And you're like, what, where did this come from? And then like maybe like 50 minutes later, when it's at the end of the chapter, you go, oh, that's where that's what he was referencing there. But it was like bleeding into his experiences of retelling the story from the beginning. And I just thought that was fascinating. And all of the character perspectives you get are super, super interesting. The main plot, the main thrust of the book, and what I think makes it really weird and kind of original, it is like, so minor spoilers. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, just like pop ahead 30 seconds or so. But like the idea is that our main character is possessed, but he's possessed by the spirit of a mountain. So there is all of this stuff where like characters around him are getting like altitude sickness and are freezing to death like they're at the top of a mountain. And it's such a fascinating take on a possession story. And there's so much like interesting folklore involved in the history. And I saw some complaints that not a lot happens, and you're not wrong. Like a lot of times a lot of crazy stuff happens, but you don't immediately find out what that is. Like you find out early on there's like something happened at this hospital that our main character is staying at before he's released, that has like all of these people who are at the hospital die mysteriously, and you don't figure out why they die until the very end of the book. So you learn that people died at the start of the book, but at the very end of the book is you learn how and what and how that all happened and how that all went down. And there's a lot of really creepy imagery and a lot of creepy ideas in the book, but like it is a little bit more of a character piece, like where it's a little bit more really drawn out of a relationship between two people, because for the most part it is our character who is possessed and his boyfriend trying to acclimatize to the new life that they are living in. And like at first it has some really interesting things to say about disability, because it's like talking about somebody with facial disfigurement, and it does so in a way that's like very raw and visceral, that feels true to her character, and like it's not pretty and nice, and it's not like what is the right thing for a character to say or feel. And I think that is actually a little bit more valuable than just like, you know, when something happens, like some people are born with disability and it's always been a part of their life and they will always have that as their core experience because that is everything they know. But there are experiences of people when you become disabled that you have to like untangle a lot of the inbuilt ableism that is in society and is in your own mindsets and is in your own relationships with yourself and the world and all of these things that you have to grapple with if you suddenly become disabled, which is something that I could definitely relate to here. And the fact is, like, it's not nice. You have to go through a lot of like nasty, mean emotions, especially towards yourself, and realize that you have a lot of notions that are just horrible. And you're like, oh yeah, you don't really think about like the ways that capitalism has basically like twisted your brain into thinking only one style of living is the acceptable lifestyle, and all of these things that you use to consume all kind of like fall into this idea of like ableism is kind of like a core element of that, is that you consume to be pretty, you got to buy the newest shirts, you got to buy the new makeup, you got to do all these things so that you are acceptable in society. And that all kind of goes back to capitalism because they want you to buy, and that's why you want to buy. And anyways, it just goes through a lot of really kind of raw, nasty emotions, and I thought that was really, really an intriguing element of this book. And then just the end was like very emotional and interesting and wild, and it got really cosmic-y during the end. And anyways, it was a blast. Absolutely adored that book. And then I did finish this little short comic book series that is like a Dungeons and Dragons story. So this is actually the third adventure with these characters. And apparently this was just like an ongoing IDW Dungeons and Dragons comic book a few years ago. And this is just really fun. Like I haven't read the other two, but I could just dive in here just fine. And I legit only grabbed this from the libraries because it was wintry. And this is just like a fun story about like these people who have found themselves lost in the wilderness. And, it has like a very quippy style to it, and all the characters are kind of like fun and vibrant, and the artwork is pretty fun. And yeah, it's just like, it's just a good time. Like, this is not like a high fantasy that will make you rethink your life, but it's just like a fun time. And you kind of feel a lot like you do in real Dungeons and Dragons, where it's all about a group of people kind of coming together, and they all have different walks of life, and they all bring their own unique elements into an adventure. So yeah, I thought this was just a blast, and I'm definitely going to read some of the other things there. I mean, you literally have a giant hamster at one point. Like, who couldn't love that? Who couldn't love that? So I'm not sure what's going to be next, but I'll let you know. Currently, chilling on Kelsey's sprints. She's doing some sprinting. So, yeah, pretty good night overall. A little bird. That little bird right there. He literally just landed right there. I was trying to get a photo of it, but I did not. But he's a curious little bird. Oh, that was nice. Thank you, little bird. Bye, little bird. It's fucking cold. Okay, so a bit of a late night check-in. I'm about halfway done this Columbo book. I'm going to keep working on this tonight. But I just thought it was very funny. I don't know, my upstairs neighbors are having like a party or something, and it's really annoying. So I want to put on some ambiance. And for a joke, I'm like, let's look up Columbo ambiance. And yeah, there's a freaking Columbo ambient soundscape. What better thing to choose? There you go. The world of Columbo will accompany me while I read about Columbo. I'm actually quite enjoying this book, surprisingly enough. I did start The Mall by Sarah King. I didn't really like that book too much. Like, it wasn't bad. It was just like not gripping me. So I just kind of, unhauled it, which means I'm just giving it to Kelsey from Slime and Slashers, because I think she'll actually quite enjoy that one. It just, for whatever reason, it just wasn't hitting me, and I keep putting it off every year. So I was just like, I've been meaning to send this to her for a while anyway, so I'm just gonna send it to her now, and then, whatever. I did finish What Feasts at Night, which was the second book in the Sworn Soldier series by T. King Fisher, and yeah, I really enjoyed that series so far. Like I enjoyed What Moves the Dead, and I thought it was very fun as like a retelling of the Fall of the House of Usher. But I actually kind of think I like the second one a little bit better. I mean, like it's hard to say because like I think they both kind of have very similar styles. But I kind of like that this was a very original tale. These are all like little novellas, so like it wasn't anything like extremely dense to get through, but they were just basically our main character from the last book is going back to an old hunting lodge in their fictional country, and I love their entire every time they're kind of like get into this fictional country that they're from. I love it so much, and I love all these like little details and stuff like that of this country that doesn't exist. uh, but there's like a hunting lodge that they had, acquired back in the day after their father died. And anyways, there's like they get there and it's all run down and it's all messed up and they're like, "What the heck's going on?" And they can't find the caretaker, and they find out the caretaker has died, and he has died from a mysterious thing that is going on. And there's like this little creature or something. I guess creature is not the right word. I don't know what the folkloric term for it is, but there's that story, like if you've seen any paintings in the old Middle Ages, it's like of like a demon sitting on someone's chest and like taking out the breath of their soul, and like that's what they think happened to this man, and it's just kind of trying to explore what actually happened and if this is an issue that they're gonna have to deal with. And yeah, I just thought it was a really fun tale. It's very like constrained. It's like near the tail end of fall as it's going into winter. So it wasn't exactly something that was thematic, but I was like, oh, this is quick. And I also have wanted to read this, so I had it from the library on audio. So I was like, I'm just going to go into it. So yeah, I really did enjoy that. And yeah, I'm also kind of loving this freaking Columbo book. But I will say, one of the most ridiculous things. So this book has some of the most silly padding that I've ever seen to like get the paper, like get the page count up. So you see this part one, chapter one. Well, after every single chapter, it goes to part two, part three, part four, and the part being a blank page. And if it ends on if it ends on this page, then it'll just be one blank page with the words page two, part two. But there's quite a few chapters where it's like two blank pages, and then we go to chapter two, and you're like, I've never seen a book that's doing that much padding, because normally it's like they always want chapters to start on this side. There's like a bunch of books where like the chapters are start here, so this page will be blank. Like literally, The Mall, which is what I was just reading, also had that where it's like if it ends, a chapter ends and it's not going to start on this page will be blank, which is just kind of a common practice, and I actually kind of like it. I always enjoy it because I always feel like I'm being more productive than I actually am. But yeah, this book has a lot of padding for a book that is only, what is it, 156 pages long? Yeah, okay, so yeah, 155 pages long. And like when I say padding, I mean like when you think about it, like that's probably gonna be, because I'm on page 70. I would imagine you probably killed 20 pages. So this is really only a 130 page book. And like the print is not super big, but anyways, that's just kind of like funny padding. But so far I'm enjoying this, and I will update you when I finish this. I don't know if I'll finish this tonight. I might go to bed, but I don't know. If people are being noisy upstairs, then I might just finish it and then go to bed after. Talk to you later. Okay, I did finish this before going to bed, and I really liked it. I had to go talk to my upstairs neighbors because they were really loud, so hopefully I'll be able to actually get some sleep tonight. So I'm going to head to bed. But yeah, this was good. Very Christmassy, but of course it takes place in L.A. for most of it. But Columbo does do some traveling to Chicago, and he also goes to Atlanta, so he experienced a little bit more of the winter weather. This is really good at doing what the Columbo show apparently did. I don't know if I've seen many episodes of Columbo. I've seen enough that I know some of the like the gags, the like one more thing and those things, but like I don't know how well I was acquainted with Columbo because I didn't realize that you knew who the killer was right away. And it's not about the who done it, it's about how Columbo tracks them down and gets them convicted of the case and, takes them down. So it's like how do they do it versus, how does he get them versus, who done it, which I thought was really cool and a really interesting, kind of way to do this story. Basically, a woman who runs a very close knit, how do you even describe it? Store window decorators for like big high end department stores, especially during the holiday season. And they work together, and then one of them kills one of the other ones, and it's like all about their relationship. And then Columbo's kind of poking and prodding, and you get a little bit of him as well. And yeah, no, this is just a really fun little detective story that was told in a very unique way because you already know who the killer was right away, and it was just a lot of character building and a lot of fun stuff. So yeah, quick little read and actually quite Christmassy. Okay, I am headed to bed because I am tired. Bye.
Two kills of the game, while Vincent was just having a great time. Finally.
Little baby. What is your baby? This is your little baby. You're my evil little baby. You're the evilest baby. Evil baby. Evil baby. He's like, yeah, I'm an evil baby. I don't care. I don't care. Willow. Speaking of evil babies, what's up, Gary? How's it going, Mr. Man? He's like, how dare you touch my head? That is the royal head. No one may touch it. You what up, Green? You're a good girl too, ain't you? Who's your little princess? Who's your little princess girl? I love you, little princess. Oh, big bad buddy. Oh, big bad boy. You're the big bad boy. My mom sent some cat toys for my cats for Christmas. And we've got this one, which has captured everyone's mind. It's like an automatic thing where it flaps and tweets. Everyone is like, what is the deal? Is it alive? Can I eat it? I don't know. And this is quite the change from yesterday when birds were literally hanging out upon me. And now I'm sitting here being like, hey, cats, here's a fictional one. Eat it, bro. But yeah, they seem to be having fun. And I have another one that's like these guys. And I know that this thing, somebody got me a similar one for this because it's got like the gun and it fires these things. And the cats love this thing. But I have to do like some serious cleaning. Like I have to run the vacuum before I'm unleashing this monster on everyone again. Because cats will still find these random spots and go like Wisteria does because she thinks it's a baby or something. Like I don't know. Jughead used to do the same thing where he'd find these balls specifically. And like I would be like the middle of the night, he would like be like trying to like nudge it and stuff, and he would like be like, because I don't know what they thought it was, but anyways. So yeah, that is what we're hanging out with today. On a walk, and oh lord, he coming. Hello. Oh yes, you're a good kitty. Can I see your face? There you go. There's your big beautiful face. Okay, I'm gonna pet this guy for a while. Oh, jeez, what a productive walk. Another cat. Hello. Got a big fluffer. Okay, so final update tonight. I finished this book, which was actually surprisingly great. It seemed like it took a lot from the original Christmas Carol. I have not read the original Christmas Carol. Hopefully, I will do that next vlog. But it added like zombie elements, but like in like a pretty like in a pretty seamless way. Like it didn't actually appear that like super gory or anything. It almost seems like it was a good way to introduce people to the Christmas Carol story who are only interested in the more horror aspects. I mean, there's definitely like, disembowelments and like gruesome zombie-esque stuff, but it does for the most part stay true to the story of A Christmas Carol. And yeah, no, it was good, and it has like a very sad ending. It was a very lukewarm, like emotional ending, and it was different than A Christmas Carol. Obviously, like there like the ending to this is very much in the vein of the zombie element, and yeah, I just thought this was a good read. Really enjoyed it. This was kind of amazing. Like, it's so wild. It's like I've never heard of this author. I've never really heard of this book before. I picked it up because it was just I was going through the library. I saw something that said winter on it, and I just grabbed it because it was like a comic book and it was winter. And this is like a love story between set in the 1970s between a communist and a young communist who's like 24, and this 34-year-old mother who's like a teacher and has some kids and isn't very happy in her marriage, and they have this like really interesting relationship. And this is very much like a literary story, and it's like very much more in like an adult aspect, and it is really really good. Like it's just like a great story and a great comic book that has all of these like amazing set pieces, and the artwork is like really really impressive, and I love the artwork. This is translated from Swedish, set in the 1970s, and yeah, no, it's just like really interesting. Like this is something that, like, had I read it in a book, this would be literary fiction. And I don't think I would ever really gravitate towards literary fiction that was in this vein. But because it has the visual elements of a graphic novel, it suddenly has more interest to me. And it really kind of makes me think more about my reading habits and try to figure out why would I read this versus not reading a whole lot of literary fiction. But if it was literary graphic novels, like, I have no issue picking that up and reading that and having an emotional response to it. And yeah, it was like a really beautiful story and a really interesting story. But, it was kind of like heartbreaking and sad. And yeah, I just loved it. And it made me think about how I read material. So, other than that, I'm also starting Gremlins, which is one of the greatest movies of all time. And I haven't watched it in many, many years. It's been a while. It's actually been like a while since I watched Gremlins. And like Gremlins is a movie that I used to watch like religiously. Like I used to have like a whole notebook that was full of every single Gremlin permutation in this movie. And of course in Gremlins 2, the new batch. Like it genuinely was my entire personality in like high school. It was like, Gremlins, it's the only film that exists. So yeah, I'm excited to revisit it. And I hope you guys have a very nice weekend. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye bye. The fact that like every moment in this movie is like built into my soul is extremely embarrassing. Yeah, and it just fucks up all the eggs. The amount of times that I think about the movie Gremlins from 1984 is like, honestly, this might be the movie that remains in my brain the most out of all of cinematic history. The movie Gremlins is like my favorite. Is this actually my favorite movie? I don't know. I didn't realize this until this watching, but like every single element when he's like, "Oh, are you okay, Mom? Are you crying?" And it's like she's cutting onions. That's why she's crying, but also she's watching A Wonderful Life. Both of them are beautiful. Anyways, I love this movie. It is the movie I watched the most in high school, I think. Probably. Either that or Friday Night. Either way. When you think of how gremlins react, it's a lot like, I don't know, someone else in this apartment. Who could it be? We don't know. Hello, and welcome to the dumbest joke I'll make all year.
What? I'll bet every kid in America would like to have one of these.
They'd replace the dog as a family pet.
Replace the dog as the family pet.
Haktua! I am a child. Have you ever wondered what Fangoria magazine this is in the background of Gremlins? Well, it's Fangoria magazine issue number 30. Pictured here. I literally looked up Fangoria 1983 and it was like the first thing that showed up. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's that one. I thought it would be like more fun to like do like a in-depth research, but no, it was easy. It's just this one. Wow. Honestly, I am Mrs. Deagle. She's petting a Loomis here. That's a major Loomis. And she's got a whole bunch of cats, and they're all named after forms of money. Like, look at how beautiful they are, these kitties. Oh, dollar bill. Oh, dollar bill. Why do I know all the lines in this movie? It's a character flaw. But anyways, I should name all my cats after parts of money. Oh, they're all beautiful. I love all these kitties. Oh, Nami loves Gizmo. And this is my final update. I hope you all have a nice week. Goodbye. Oh. She's like, whoa, look at this bubbling water. Bye-bye. Oh, I love Nami here watching this at this moment. And this is what I also say to the audience watching this.
You understand what he says when he speaks to you? To hear, one has only to listen.
Oh, he's so cute.